rare spaceship appeared at auction. Scheduled for dismantling, Elias Mercer walked into the vast, echoing hall of the Orion Belt Galactic Auction House. The smell of recycled air and hot metal filled the space. He had been to many auctions before, but none like this. Ships from across the galaxy were displayed here, sleek, polished, and dangerous. Some hummed softly with energy, others gleamed like stars. Yet Elias's eyes were drawn to something that most others ignored. It sat in the corner, under a flickering light, on a pedestal with a scheduled for dismantling sign hanging crookedly. The hull was scratched and dented, parts of it missing, wires hanging like broken veins. Most alien buyers barely glanced at it. They were interested in shiny ships, fast ships, or ships armed to the teeth. Not this old battered relic. Elias took a step closer. The ship gave a soft hum. He froze. It was faint, almost like a heartbeat. He reached out and brushed his hand along the metal. A warm vibration pulsed through his fingers. His heart skipped a beat. There was something unusual about it. Something alive. "Don't waste your time, human," a tall, green-skinned alien said behind him. Its voice was sharp, like scraping metal. "That thing is junk, scheduled for scrap. Nothing of value here." Elias didn't reply. He didn't need to. He already knew it wasn't junk. He could feel it in his bones. Years of working on starships, fixing engines, and restoring broken vessels had taught him one thing. Sometimes the best ships were the ones no one wanted. The auction hall was loud now. Alien buyers shouted over each other, waving clawed hands or metallic bidding paddles. Ships were being sold for thousands, millions, even billions of galactic credits. Elias stayed in the shadows, watching. When the auctioneer finally turned to the battered ship, the room quieted. "Next up," the auctioneer announced, voice booming through the hall, "a rare vessel from the pre-Allied era. Condition, questionable. Scheduled for dismantling. Opening bid, 5,000 credits." A ripple of laughter ran through the crowd. Aliens muttered among themselves.
5,000?
That was nothing. Most thought it was a joke. Elias stepped forward. He didn't even hesitate. 5,000 credits might be all he had, but he had learned long ago to trust his instincts over numbers. 10,000, he called out. His voice was firm, catching the attention of the hall. The room fell silent for a moment. A human bidding at a galactic auction? And on this piece of junk? A few aliens hissed. Some scoffed. 20,000! Shouted a gray-skinned alien with 6 eyes. It waved a clawed hand. Elias clenched his jaw. His hand hovered over his datapad, ready to double again. But before he could, the auctioneer's voice boomed. "Going once! Going twice! Sold!" Elias blinked. He had done it. Against all odds, he had won the ship. The hall erupted in murmurs, laughter, and a few angry shouts. Many couldn't believe a human had outbid them for what they considered worthless junk. Elias didn't smile. He couldn't. Something was happening. The ship vibrated beneath him, more strongly now, and a faint blue light glowed from the cracks in its hull. Then, a strange projection appeared in the air above the ship, a holographic message. "Human needed," it said in a voice that was soft but firm. "Almost alive." Elias took a step back. The room grew quieter. No one understood.
Even the auctioneer frowned.
"What is that?" the auctioneer asked nervously. Elias didn't answer. He just stared at the ship. It was more than a ship. It was aware. It was calling to him. After the auction ended, Elias arranged for transport. His small human freighter wasn't much, but it was enough. He carefully helped the battered vessel onto a ship. As they lifted off from the auction house, Elias couldn't shake the feeling that his life had just changed forever. The trip back to his hangar in the abandoned orbital station was quiet. The stars stretched endlessly outside the window, twinkling coldly. But inside Elias's mind, a storm was brewing. He couldn't stop thinking about the ship. Its hum, the vibration, the message. What did it mean? And why him? When he finally reached his hangar, he opened the bay doors and carefully guided the ship inside. The station was old, nearly deserted, with metal walls scratched from years of neglect. Elias had built it himself, piece by piece. It wasn't much, but it was home. As the ship settled onto the docking platform, Elias ran his hands over the hull again. The hum was louder here, almost like it was greeting him. Then, without warning, the ship shuddered and a panel slid open, revealing what looked like an alien interface. Symbols glowed, pulsing rhythmically. Elias stared at it. He had seen alien tech before, but this was unlike anything he had ever touched. The interface seemed alive, responding to his presence. His fingers hovered above the symbols. He reached out, and as he touched one, a rush of energy shot through him. Not painful, but thrilling. His mind buzzed. The ship's AI, if it had one, began to speak. Elias Mercer, correct? The voice asked, calm but powerful. Elias stumbled back. What are you?
I am Orion, the voice replied. You are needed.
The galaxy depends on you. Elias shook his head. He had repaired ships, fought rogue engines, and even survived asteroid storms, but he had never heard anything like this. A ship speaking to him, calling him by name.
It seemed impossible. What do you mean?
Needed? Elias asked, his voice trembling slightly. You will learn, Orion said. But first repair. You must awaken me fully. Only you can do it.
Elias took a deep breath.
He didn't know if he was ready for this. Most humans would have run, terrified of an alien intelligence speaking to them. But Elias was not most humans. He had grown up fixing broken things, bringing life back to what others had discarded. This ship, this strange living ship, was broken. And he had a chance to fix it. He rolled up his sleeves and got to work. The alien interface was strange, almost organic. Every wire and panel seemed alive, shifting slightly as he touched it. He followed the instructions Orion gave, tapping symbols, connecting circuits, and cautiously rerouting energy flows. Hours passed. Stars outside the station spun silently as the hangar glowed with a soft blue light. Finally, with a final surge of energy, the ship's hum grew into a steady pulse. The blue glow spread across the hull, and Orion spoke again. Activation complete, it said. You are ready. Elias stepped back, exhausted but exhilarated. He looked at the ship, now glowing with life. It was no longer just a wreck. It was something extraordinary. He could feel it thinking, waiting, trusting him. Trust me, Orion, Elias whispered almost to himself. I'll figure this out. We'll figure this out. Together. Outside the station, unknown to Elias, a group of alien scouts observed the hangar from the shadows. They had noticed the ship missing from the auction. The humans had taken what they considered priceless, and they would not let it go easily. But Elias didn't know that yet. All he knew was the ship, the hum, and the strange feeling that his life was no longer his own. He was part of something bigger, something that could change the galaxy. And as he looked at Orion's glowing hull, he smiled faintly. He had always been overlooked, a small human among giants of the galaxy. But now, he was exactly where he was meant to be. The adventure had begun. Elias Mercer leaned against the edge of the docking platform, watching Orion's hull glow softly under the dim lights of his orbital hangar. He couldn't believe what had just happened. The ship he had won in a reckless bid at the Orion Belt auction house wasn't just a wreck. It was alive, or at least it felt alive. And now it had a voice. Elias Mercer, are you ready?
Orion's calm, alien voice echoed inside the hangar. The ship's internal lights pulsed like a heartbeat.
Elias swallowed hard. I think so, he said. He had fixed broken engines and rebooted damaged navigation systems, but nothing like this. Where do I even start? You must awaken me fully, Arian replied. Your hands, your mind, they are the key. Elias took a deep breath. He had always believed in human ingenuity. Humans could adapt, improvise, and solve problems no other species could. If Orion's ship was a puzzle, he could solve it. He had to. He approached the alien interface again. The symbols shimmered like liquid metal, changing slightly every time he touched them. His fingers hovered over the panels, unsure of where to begin. Then he remembered something his father used to say. Don't fight a machine. Listen to it. All right, Orion, Elias whispered. Show me what you need me to do. A soft blue light spread across the ship's hull. Symbols rearranged themselves, forming patterns that seemed to respond to his gaze. When he placed his fingers on the nearest panel, a gentle vibration surged through his hands, as if the ship was testing him. Focus on my core, Arion instructed. Your intuition is correct. Trust it. Elias felt a warmth radiating from the ship. His mind buzzed, as if Orion's systems were reaching into his thoughts. He followed the glowing patterns, connecting wires, rerouting energy flows, and adjusting circuits in ways that seemed impossible to understand. Every time he touched a new panel, the ship responded, pulsing in rhythm with his heartbeat. Hours passed. Stars drifted lazily outside the station windows. Elias was drenched in sweat, but he didn't stop. He could feel Orion awakening beneath his hands. Systems hummed, lights brightened, and then, suddenly, a burst of energy surged through the hangar. Connection established, Orion said. I am aware. Elias Mercer, you have awakened me. He had done it. The ship was alive, fully operational and aware. It was incredible. But with that revelation came a new, terrifying question. Why had the ship chosen him? I don't understand, Elias said. Why me? Why now? Arian's voice was calm, but firm. Human ingenuity. Human adaptability. Your species. Underestimated. You can achieve what others cannot. The galaxy is in danger. I was built for a purpose. That purpose awaits you. He had never been a hero. He had never fought in wars, or led a fleet, or even left human colonies on the fringe. He was a mechanic, a repairman, but Arion seemed to sense something in him, something he didn't even see in himself. Danger? Elias asked. What kind of danger? Enemies have noticed me, Orion replied. They will come. You must be ready. But first, learn my systems. Only together can we survive. The ship's interior panels slid open, revealing compartments filled with alien technology. Holographic schematics floated in the air, showing weapons, propulsion systems, and navigational tools far beyond human design. Elias studied them, trying to make sense of the alien symbols and instructions. Hours turned into days. Elias slept in short bursts, surviving on rations he had stored in the station. He learned to interface with Orion, discovering new abilities each day. Adaptive shields, energy modulation, propulsion enhancement, and a strange cloaking system that allowed the ship to disappear from sensors entirely. But the more he learned, the more he realized how little he actually knew. Orion was ancient, built by a long-forgotten human-alien alliance. Its systems were so advanced that even the galaxy's top engineers couldn't understand them. And yet, Elias was connecting with it. Human intuition guiding alien technology. One evening, as Elias adjusted energy flow to Orion's core, a soft alert sounded. A holographic display lit up with an approaching fleet. Red blips moved across the projection. Aliens from the auction, Orion said. They have tracked me. They intend to reclaim me by force. Elias's stomach dropped. He had expected this, but seeing the approaching fleet on the hologram made it real. Hundreds of ships, sleek and deadly, closing in fast. How many? Elias asked, trying to steady his voice. Too many, Orion replied. But you are not alone. Human creativity will find a way. Elias took a deep breath. He couldn't run. He couldn't hide. His station was too small, too exposed. But Orion's systems were alive now, and he could feel the ship's willingness to fight for him. Not with weapons alone, but with intelligence, with strategy. He gripped the control panel and activated Orion's energy shields. A soft blue field expanded around the ship, shimmering like water. The station shuddered under the distant engines of the approaching fleet.
Elias's mind raced. He had faced dangerous engine failures, meteor storms, and rogue pirates. But this was different.
This was an army. He needed to be smarter, faster, and braver than he had ever been. Orion spoke almost soothingly. You will not survive by strength alone. You must think like a human. Adapt, improvise, overcome. Elias smiled faintly despite the tension. That was what humans did best. Alien races relied on power, rules, and predictability. Humans could find solutions in impossible situations. And right now, that was exactly what he needed. The first scouts arrived, darting silently into the station's orbit. Their sleek ships glimmered under the starlight, scanning for Orion. Elias guided the ship's systems, activating decoy energy signals to confuse them. Shields flared as a scout fired a probe, only for it to misfire into empty space. Orion pulsed with energy. Good, but not enough. You must push further. Elias adjusted the energy flow again, this time overloading the decoy projectors to create multiple false targets. The alien scouts hesitated, unsure which signal was real. He felt a thrill. He was outsmarting them, using cleverness instead of brute force. Hours passed in tense silence. The fleet could arrive at any moment, and Elias had only a fraction of Orion's capabilities unlocked. He was learning, but he had to act fast. The ship's core thrummed under his hands, a living partner in this deadly dance. Finally, the alien fleet sent a warning signal.
Surrender the ship, human. Resistance will be met with destruction.
Elias laughed quietly, shaking his head. You've clearly never met a human before. He guided Orion into a narrow asteroid field near the station, exploiting a feature of the ship he had only just discovered, an adaptive navigation system that allowed it to maneuver through impossible terrain. The alien scouts followed, but many were destroyed or disabled by collisions with asteroids. Human ingenuity guided by Orion's alien technology was giving Elias the advantage. By the time the fleet retreated, Elias was exhausted but alive. Orion hummed softly, its lights dimming in a satisfied rhythm. You have survived, Orion said, but this is only the beginning. The galaxy watches, and soon you will be called upon for more than survival. Elias sat back, wiping sweat from his brow. He had faced impossible odds, and human ingenuity had prevailed. But he knew one thing. This was no ordinary ship. Orion had a purpose, and somehow Elias Mercer was at the center of it. As he looked at the glowing hull, he whispered to himself, I don't know what's coming, but I'm ready. Outside the station, unknown to Elias, more ships from the auction fleet regrouped. They would not forget a human who outsmarted them. But Elias had something they didn't. Courage, ingenuity, and a living ship that trusted him. And for the first time, he felt truly powerful. Not because of weapons, but because of what humans could do when they refused to be ignored. And so, the adventure continued. Elias Mercer stared out of the wide viewport of his orbital hangar, watching the stars streak past as the hangar doors slid open. Today was different. Today, he would take Orion out into the open space for the first time. The ship he had spent days awakening wasn't just a relic anymore. It was alive, powerful, and aware, and it trusted him. Ready? Orion's voice pulsed gently in his mind. Space awaits. This is your first true test. Elias nodded, gripping the controls. His hands felt steady, even though his heart raced. He had repaired engines, flown small freighters, and dodged rogue pirates. But piloting an ancient, living alien starship? That was something else entirely. The hangar doors opened wide, revealing the vast emptiness of space beyond. Stars glittered like shards of glass, and distant planets hung in the darkness. Elias guided Arion smoothly out of the station, feeling the subtle vibrations of the ship's core beneath his hands. It hummed in response, almost like it was communicating, saying, "Trust yourself." The alien fleet that had been tracking them in Part 2 was still out there, but they had not pursued. Elias suspected they were regrouping, preparing for a stronger attack. "Elias," Orion said, its voice steady, "you must learn my capabilities now. Cloaking, propulsion, energy modulation. I will guide you, but your intuition will decide how we act." Elias focused. He had learned the basics in the hangar, but this was different. In open space, there were no walls, no predictable surfaces. He had to feel the ship's energy, listen to Orion, and make split-second decisions. He activated the first system, adaptive cloaking. A shimmer ran along Orion's hull, and slowly, the ship began to fade into the starlight. Elias could see the faint outlines, but to any scanning sensors, the ship would be invisible. "Good," Orion said. "Now, propulsion. Use your instincts. Not everything is controlled by buttons." Elias adjusted the energy flow manually, feeling the pulses from Orion's core. The ship responded instantly, accelerating smoothly, pivoting in ways no human-made ship could. It felt alive beneath him, almost like piloting a horse instead of a machine. They drifted for hours, training, testing, and learning. Elias discovered the ship could store energy in specialized conduits, then release it in short bursts for speed or sudden maneuvers. He could bend light around Orion, distort energy readings, and even manipulate small asteroids using energy fields. Each new ability made him feel more confident. But their practice was interrupted by a sudden alert. A blip appeared on Orion's sensors, red and fast-moving. The alien fleet had found them. Elias's stomach tightened. Here. "They expected us to hide," Orion said. "They did not expect you to think." Elias smiled faintly. "That was what humans did best." Alien races relied on brute force, rules, and predictable patterns. Humans were creative, adaptable, and dangerous in ways others never imagined. The first wave of alien ships approached in formation, sleek and heavily armed. Their sensors searched, looking for Orion's energy signature. Elias activated the cloaking system, weaving Orion silently through a dense asteroid field. The aliens followed, but they were slower, their movements predictable. Elias manipulated the energy conduits to push small asteroids into the fleet's path. One by one, ships collided, engines overloaded, or sensors jammed. He had never fired a shot, yet he was already winning.
"Impressive," Orion said, "but this is only a taste."
"You must push further." Elias adjusted the energy to Orion's hull, creating a decoy signature that mimicked the ship's core energy. Multiple false targets appeared on the enemy sensors. The fleet hesitated, unsure which signal was real. Elias guided Orion through narrow gaps between asteroids, flipping the ship in ways the aliens couldn't anticipate. Hours of chase turned into a deadly dance.
Elias had discovered one of Orion's most secret abilities, spatial distortion. By carefully manipulating energy flows, he could bend light and matter slightly, creating the illusion of multiple ships.
The aliens fired, but their weapons passed through empty space. "This is human thinking," Orion said almost approvingly. "Creativity, instinct, adaptation." For years, humans had been underestimated, pushed to the fringes of the galaxy. Yet here he was, outsmarting fleets that had more weapons, more numbers, and more experience. Orion was not just a ship, it was a partner, and together they were unstoppable. The alien fleet began to retreat, confused and frustrated. Elias didn't let them escape completely. Using Orion's energy modulation, he created a controlled pulse that temporarily disabled the fleet's engines, forcing them to pull back. They would live to fight another day, but Elias had made a statement. Humans were clever, adaptable, and not to be ignored. As the dust of battle cleared, Elias guided Orion to a quiet region of space. He leaned back in the pilot seat, exhausted but exhilarated. "We did it!" he said quietly. "We really did it!" "You survived," Orion said, "but your true test is only beginning. The galaxy is vast, Elias, and soon others will seek me. Some will seek destruction, others knowledge. You must be ready for all." He felt a strange bond with the ship. Orion wasn't just machinery. It was a mind, a history, a partner in survival and exploration. And humans. Humans thrived in situations like this, where ingenuity mattered more than raw strength. Suddenly, Orion's sensors picked up an unusual signal. Faint but deliberate. It was a human signal, old and encrypted, coming from deep space. "Elias, listen," Orion said. "A hidden human fleet, long thought destroyed. They're calling to you, to us. They may hold the key to what comes next." Elias's pulse quickened. A human fleet? Alive after all this time? Hidden, surviving, and waiting? The possibilities made his mind race. Could this be a chance to restore human presence in the galaxy? Could humans finally reclaim the respect and place they had lost among alien civilizations? He activated Orion's long-range scanners, focusing on the encrypted signal. The coordinates pointed to a remote region beyond known human colonies, far from alien influence.
"We have to go," Elias said. "If this fleet is real, they may hold answers about Orion."
"And why it chose me." Orion hummed softly, glowing brighter. "Prepare yourself, Elias. Beyond this point, nothing will be predictable. But you are capable. Your species is capable. We will face it together." As they set course, Elias couldn't help but smile. Humans had always been underestimated. He had always been underestimated. But now, the galaxy was about to see just how clever, adaptable, and unstoppable they could be. And for the first time, Elias felt that he was not just a mechanic, not just a survivor. He was a pioneer, a strategist, a human who could shape the course of the stars. The stars ahead glittered with promise, mystery, and danger. And Elias Mercer, with Orion at his side, was ready to meet it all. Elias Mercer sat in the pilot's chair, Orion humming beneath his hands as the stars stretched endlessly before them. The signal from the hidden human fleet glowed faintly on the holographic display. It was real. Humans had survived. Hidden, scattered, and waiting for someone capable enough to find them. "Coordinates locked," Elias said. "Let's see what we've been missing." "Patience," Orion said. "They will test you." Humans who survive in hiding do not easily trust outsiders. Elias understood. Humans could be cautious, especially after centuries of being underestimated and pushed aside by alien civilizations. Yet he knew he had something they didn't. Orion, a living ship from a forgotten human-alien alliance, and his own creativity and courage. They approached the coordinates. What appeared first was a vast field of derelict ships, barely moving, floating silently among asteroids. But as they drew closer, the ships powered up. Lights flickered on, engines hummed, and small signals scanned the surrounding space. This was not just a fleet. It was a living testament to human perseverance. Orion spoke softly, almost in awe. They survived, but barely. They waited for someone capable. Elias guided Orion closer. "Show them who's here," he said quietly. A projection appeared above the fleet, a human symbol, the ancient insignia of colonies long thought lost. Slowly, the ships powered up fully, forming a defensive formation. Drones scanned Orion carefully, analyzing the strange energy signatures.
A voice came over the communication channel.
Rough, cautious, yet curious.
"Identify yourself,"
it demanded. "Why do you approach the lost fleet?" Elias swallowed and answered confidently. "I am Elias Mercer, a human. This ship, Orion, it's alive. I found it after it was abandoned, scheduled for dismantling. I believe it is part of our history, and I want to help." There was silence. Then, slowly, the fleet allowed Orion to approach. One ship detached from the formation, a larger vessel, scarred but intact. Its captain stepped forward. "I am Captain Leora Vance," she said. "Many years ago we thought all human fleets were lost."
"You found Orion?"
Elias nodded.
"Yes. And it chose me. I think it has a purpose.
One that could help humans survive and thrive again." Captain Vance studied him carefully. Humans had been scattered, underestimated, and dismissed by the galaxy for generations. But this one human, young, inventive, and brave, had awakened an ancient living ship, outsmarted an alien fleet, and now sought to reunite their people. "You are what we've been waiting for," she said.
Elias felt a thrill.
He had always been overlooked, dismissed as just another mechanic. But now humans who had survived against impossible odds were looking to him. And he had Orion, alive, powerful, and responsive, to guide them. Over the next days, Elias worked with the Hidden Fleet, introducing Orion's systems and teaching humans how to interface with its technology. They learned propulsion tricks, adaptive shielding, and energy manipulation that allowed their old ships to move faster, hide from sensors, and defend themselves more effectively than they had in decades. But Elias knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy had changed while humans had hidden. Alien civilizations ruled sectors that humans had once called their own.
And the fleet could not simply hide anymore. They needed to prove themselves, to show that human ingenuity could not be ignored. Orion spoke as they prepared for the mission.
"The galaxy will challenge you, Elias. Some will seek knowledge. Some will seek destruction. But you and your people have something they do not: adaptability, creativity, courage. Then we show them, not with brute force, but with what humans do best." The fleet's first mission was daring. They would move through contested space, reclaiming old human trade routes and colonies long abandoned, without firing a single shot unless absolutely necessary. Using Orion's abilities, Elias led the fleet through asteroid fields, warped energy signals, and decoy formations. Aliens expecting humans to retreat were surprised. The human fleet moved faster, smarter, and with tactics no alien had predicted. One engagement stood out. A heavily armed alien patrol ambushed a small human colony.
Elias guided Orion and the fleet through a daring maneuver, creating energy distortions that made the fleet appear larger than it was. Aliens fired blindly, colliding with their own ships, while human drones quietly disabled key weapons.
By the time the aliens realized the ruse, the humans had secured the colony, repaired systems, and evacuated civilians. Not a single human life was lost.
"Creativity wins," Elias said to Orion afterward. "Not firepower,
not numbers, just thinking smarter." Orion hummed. "Yes, and humans are unmatched in it." Word of these victories spread across sectors. Alien civilizations began to respect humans, not as primitive survivors, but as clever, adaptable, and dangerous. The galaxy started to take notice. Months passed. The human fleet, led by Elias and guided by Orion, had reclaimed several key sectors. Humans were no longer the underdogs. Their ingenuity, their courage, and their willingness to take risks had made them respected and feared. One evening, as Elias floated in Orion's cockpit, gazing at a distant star cluster, he reflected on everything that had happened. He had started as a simple mechanic, overlooked and underestimated. He had found a battered, abandoned ship, a relic of a forgotten alliance. He had awakened it, outsmarted fleets, and now led humans back into the galaxy's center stage. Orion's lights pulsed softly.
"Elias, you have exceeded expectations. The galaxy will remember humans once again."
"And you will be remembered as a pioneer, a leader, and a symbol of what your species can achieve." Elias smiled faintly, a mixture of pride and humility.
"We've done it together," he said. "Humans and Orion.
Not just surviving, but thriving."
And he realized something important.
The galaxy was vast, and challenges would always come. But humans had something no other species could match: creativity, courage, and the ability to turn impossible situations into triumphs. He looked at Orion's glowing hull and whispered, "We may have been overlooked, but we're never defeated." Outside, the stars stretched endlessly. Somewhere out there, alien fleets and civilizations were watching humans rise again. But Elias and Orion were ready. The legacy of humans would no longer be one of neglect or underestimation. It would be one of innovation, courage, and intelligence. A species that could survive, adapt, and outthink any challenge the galaxy threw at them. The adventure was far from over, but for the first time in centuries, humans had reclaimed their place. Not as weak survivors, but as a force the galaxy would never forget. Elias leaned back in the cockpit, Orion humming beneath him. A new chapter had begun, for him, for the Hidden Fleet, and for all humanity. The stars were waiting, and humans were ready to meet them head on.